Welcome to your paradise. Place you long for all your life. University, manifest all your dreams. The land is writing contracts on your own. Protect your loved ones every day. Knowledge goes a long, long way. University for me. University for me. Paradise, all your life. University, all your dreams. Land is home on your own. Every day, long, long way. University for me. Yeah, welcome to your paradise, the place you long for all your life. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri, representing for UNARepublic and UNA University. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm so glad to be here with you. So glad to be here with you. Let's go. We got a great session tonight. Yes, yes. UNA. Yeah, welcome everybody. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri. I'm representing for UNARepublic and UNA University, where we help you find your financial freedom, your social freedom, and most importantly, your spiritual freedom. We got a hot show tonight. It's hot for me because it's important to me that I get this information out to you. So I hope you're ready to hear it. I hope you are ready to grasp this information that I have to share with you this evening. Okay, for those of y'all who don't know, I want to make sure you can get access to the trust. All right, we got the membership trust package. For those of y'all who know, you know how powerful a trust is. You need this if you're looking to gain your sovereignty. All right, this is very important. It comes with your trust documents. It comes with your membership badge. It comes with your allodial ID. And as you can see on the back of here, with this allodial ID, we keep your documents on record so that you can always access the documents quickly if you need them. It comes also with an education, which is very, very highly important and valuable, and we're going to put them on record for you. Okay, so this is the UNA membership trust package. For my people on TikTok, name, number, email, leave it in the inbox. Name, number, email, leave that in the inbox so that we can invite you to our workshop. All right, and for those of y'all who are not on TikTok, all right, find us at unauniversity.com. Hello, Genesis. And welcome everybody else in the stream. I want to welcome all my people in TikTok, all my people in YouTube. Welcome. All right, if you want this membership trust package, find us UNA University. All right. Also UNARepublic. Now, also want to mention to you the beginner law book. Very important. All right. We told you all in this law book are all of your laws concerning God. Whatever God you choose, but all of the maxims of law, which is when you go into court, you want to have this thing. You want to have these laws, all 200 something of them. They come directly from the Bible. And this is what you stand on. This is what you're supposed to stand on if ever you have to walk into one of their courts, okay? Also, if you decide to get the physical copy, it comes with an additional copy of the universal laws. It comes with an additional copy of the hierarchy of laws. It comes with an additional copy of the vibratory frequency chart. Now, these are in the book, but we give you an extra copy because we don't want you to tear the book up trying to put these things on the wall. We want you to put them on your wall, on your mirror, on your refrigerator. We want these things to become a part of you, all right? Also, it comes with one of our newer charts that we've added, the civilization cycle, as well as the societal totem pole. So you can get this in the physical copy, or you can get the ebook, all right? Find this at UNARepublic.com. Welcome. All right. Today's session is titled Tap into Source Before You Allow Anyone to Tap into You. And there is no pause on that. I mean that as I just said it. Tap into source before you allow anyone to tap into you. We are streaming on YouTube, TikTok, and X. Want to welcome everybody in TikTok. Welcome everybody in X who is watching. So glad to have you. Want you to like, share, subscribe, okay? All that good stuff. Now, I want to make sure I can see my beautiful, wonderful, lovely people on TikTok. So we're logging in here. And listen, if you all, some of you all, especially on TikTok, you all will end up getting our, you get snippets of our sessions that we put up. I encourage you guys to find us on YouTube, all right? Because there you will find the full version of our sessions if you have any questions about the snippets, because a lot of people, they see the snippet and then they make an assumption based on a snippet that they saw. So we encourage you to go and find us over at YouTube and then get the full version of those videos. We also put them up in sections. Okay, tap into source before you allow someone to tap into you. No pause. All right, this session comes from a comment that was made on one of the threads that we have for UNA. All right, giving shout outs to Goddess of Light. Yes, you are. Welcome, Rosemary Collins. Welcome, all of my people on TikTok. If you are in the house, say something. Say something. All right, so that I will know you're in the house. So let's get into this, okay? This session, as I said, it comes from a comment left in the comment section concerning a segment I put up about men and women, or what I see as the differences between men and women. Now, that was really more of my opinion, which I really don't like to give. I don't like to give my opinion because my opinion doesn't matter. I really just want to give you what the facts are, and then make sure that you have the ability to go and research the facts for yourself. Then that way it's not me trying to guide you or convince you, because it's not my desire to convince you of anything. My purpose here, my purpose, as the spirits have sent me here, to give you the information that has been hidden, to give you the facts, not my opinion, because my opinion doesn't matter in this. So my purpose here also in this session is to make sure that women understand who you are. And the problem is that women have been told lies. And in those lies, the issue is that women are causing a lot of issues because they have no knowledge of self. So if you're talking about cleaning up this society and getting us back on track and coming into order with nature and all of that, it starts with the woman. All of the mess that's going on, it starts with the woman, and we're going to get into that. So I need this to be made clear. I'm going to upset some people who are not mature enough to hear the truth. If you are not mature enough to hear the truth, by all means, Keep scrolling. Do this number here or this number here. Okay. By all means, keep scrolling. Why? Because I need mature people who are ready to hear the facts so that we can be serious about cleaning up this mess that we have in this thing we call a society. It starts with the woman. So I'm ready to upset some men. I'm going to upset some women. I'm going to probably upset some albions and some melanated people too. But these are the facts. I don't need you to believe me. Go look them up. So when people come at me tomorrow, well, you know, I disagree. Well, you can disagree with the facts all you want to, but the facts are the facts. Those are not going to change. So what I'm about to present to you this evening are some facts, and they are hard facts. And you're going to be able to see them and research them for yourself. If you don't want to see it, and if you're not mature enough, if you don't have big boy or big girl panties and drawers or whatever it is, keep scrolling. Because I'm ready to go into some facts tonight, and I'm going to upset a whole bunch of people. I want y'all to know I love you. I love all of you. That's why I'm putting this information out here. My brother, my sister, my Albions, and Jews, and everybody else, I love you. But the facts are going to come out here. That's what this channel is about. Okay, I'm getting into it. I'm going deep. Get your popcorn ready. This is going to be a nice little session here. Go, Diego. Go. Welcome. SS, welcome. Go Diego says, hey Diva, this session is right on time. It's so relevant for what's going on in the world today. I hope you still feel that way, Go Diego, after I finish this. Roxy Bay, what's going on? Welcome, thank you. Roxy Bay says, let it rip. Okay, all right. I'm going to let it rip. I got mature people in the house. I love y'all. All my brothers and sisters, y'all are mature. Let's go. All right. So I had this session where I gave a comment, and it was based on just what I've seen with women. Okay, women have a tendency, according to what I've seen, to want to feel wanted, whereas men want to feel needed. Now, why did I say this? Okay, one of the things that I've seen with women is that they don't too much care for someone feeling like, oh, you know, I need you here, baby. Come on, wash my clothes and cook my meals, and I need you to. They want to feel like he wants her. These are the women that I've dealt with and seen and heard and listened to them talk. Well, do you even like me? Do you love me? Do you even care to be around me? Is what I'm getting from women. They want to feel wanted, not so much needed. Whereas men, they more like to feel needed. Like, well, shoot, baby, I took care of the, I paid for the rent. I paid for the water. This, I took care of everything. You got the house because of me. All right? You need me. I did what I'm supposed to do. This is one of the things that I've just seen what my experience is. I'm not saying this is just my opinion, and I don't really put my opinions out, like I said, but this is one of the times I did it. And then this person comes back with a comment, and we get ready to go over it, okay? So this is just what I've seen. I'm not saying that this is across the board, but in general, men want to feel needed, because if they don't feel like you need them, it's almost like they become obsolete, all right? And the thing is, yeah, women want them, okay, but does she need him? We're going to go into it today. And again, I'm going to upset some people. I wanted to be made clear that I got love for everybody, but the facts are getting ready to come out. Okay, so does she need him? Whereas with him, does he need her? We're going into it. All right. Now, again, I'm just giving you what the facts are, and some of this is going to be possibly offensive, especially if you are someone who's not come into this knowledge and you haven't heard it. So this is why I'm going to give you the information, and then you can go and look this up for yourself. Okay, don't believe me. So his comments, and I'm going to put this on the screen right now, to that particular segment that he heard. Let's get this on the screen, Savvy. So his comments were, nah, it's a balance. A man's physical projection is more physical, logical. A female is more spiritual, emotional. Okay, now, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to break this down line by line after I finish reading it. But he says a man's physical projection is more physical, logical. A female is more spiritual, emotional. I can buy into that. And that plays into what I had just said. But we each have both, and one can be more adept in either or regardless of gender, depending on the spirit of the individual and attained wisdom. I agree with that. We need each other. This is where we're going to disagree. Man, woman, child, he says. That is a lie that I'm going to go over in this session. Any other mindset leading towards one or the other is imbalanced, unhealed trauma. Okay, we're going to go through that. Self-love, discovery, and balance is needed for it to be a divine unification. What does that even mean? Okay, if we didn't need each other, we wouldn't be physically manifested here in the now from a male-female procreation. Really? Okay, we're going to go into that. Don't project gender separation wars. This is not me projecting anything, but giving you what the facts are. Individually, we have to heal for us to collectively unify. Yeah, I totally agree. The old separation construct is over, he says. The new wave is here. Get aboard the mothership, because she won't host paradigms, whether male or female. And this is by the character. I'm not going to call this person's name. Welcome, everybody. Sanguine says, I'm so glad I caught this live. Peace and blessings. Thank you, Sanguine. I hope you feel the same way after I finish this, because a lot of y'all going to be so upset with me. But let me continue. Okay, so let's start from the top here. My sisters want to sing. Not right now. I'm coming back. All right. So let's get into this first line here where we're talking about self-love. And in this, he says, self-love, discovery, and balance is needed for it to be a divine unification. Now, once again, the topic for tonight is tap into source before you allow someone to tap into you. All right. Now, he says, once again, self-love and balance is needed for it to be a divine unification. And one of the issues is that women have no self-love, because when she has self-love, there are things that she will not allow to be done to her, like abuse or somebody to force her into something. Listen, what women have been told from birth is that she is less than, she is weak, she needs a man. Without a man, she's nothing. And I need to put what the facts are, because women have been lied to heavily. And because she is in a dormant state, she is in a comatose state, she is allowing things to go on in this dimension. And once she wakes up, because she doesn't even understand that she's the one who controls everything that comes into this dimension. Nothing gets here unless it comes through her womb. She is the stargate. But she doesn't know that because somebody else has told her she's worthless. She's not anything without this other being that we're ready to find out what this being is today. And she's getting ready to find out what her true powers are today, because we're going to see that there's this cycle that's going on. And she's going to find out why she is in a comatose state. And everybody else is awakening, but she's the last one to awaken. We're going to find out why. All right. So she never developed the self-love from the beginning, because from an early age, somebody is planting into her head, well, Prince Charming is going to come and give you a kiss, and he going to wake you up, and y'all going to live happily ever after. Really? Meanwhile, she's still in this comatose state, waiting on somebody to come save her, when she has the power to save herself from the beginning. This is not dissing him. This is making it clear that she's been lied to, and we're going to see it. You're going to see it. In just in case you're like, well, I don't know how they win. Okay, pay attention. All right. So there is no balance when you are dependent on something else. The problem is that a woman, I need to post this. I wasn't even going to go this deep, but I'm going this deep today. When we're talking about what a woman is, let's be clear on this. All right, let's make sure this is on the screen. So let's make this clear that everything comes from the feminine. And some of you guys, some of my brothers who have studied, you're aware of this, and I love you for that. Thank you for being aware. There are some brothers who are mature enough to even know that and mention that. This guy who had his comments, he knows. He's talking about the mothership, and he's talking about she is not gonna, yeah, he knows. Everything comes from the feminine. And what happens is a woman, all men are as well. When men start, they are the feminine. They are a female. He is an inside out female. And I'm going to get into this and break it down in just a second. So stay tuned. But everybody comes out with these X's, 2 X's. He has 2 X's originally. And once the 4th month, and we talked about the yolk sac and how big that yolk sac is, how important it is and what role it plays. But once that yolk sac goes back into the embryo, then the decision is made right there. If the mitochondria decides that this is going to be a girl, she's going to make this other X dormant. She still has all of them, but they are as fast asleep as her memory is about how she got into this position. But if it's a male, she's going to take away 1,400 of these genes to create this Y chromosome. 1,400. Let's take a look at this. What a X and Y chromosome. I have to keep talking about this because women, one day, on the right, that is an X chromosome. Here, the large one. This is an X chromosome. It has 1,400 genes in it. On the right, this is a Y chromosome. It's 1/5 the size of the X chromosome, and it only has 100 genes in it. It has been degraded from an X chromosome to a Y chromosome. Now, you might be saying, well, why he's stronger and okay. He still has full access to this Y chromosome, whereas her other X chromosome has been made dormant. But this is her ability to procreate. This is her ability to give birth. This is her ability to give milk to the child. That ability has been taken away from him when this chromosome here was degraded from an X to a Y. This is not a diss. These are the facts. So my brothers, don't be trying to act like, well, she don't like men and she not. No, I'm just giving you what the facts are. Then what you can do is go and research this for yourself. Now I'm going to give you some more facts, women and men, that you need to research for yourself. When we're talking about a Y chromosome, pay attention, people in the back of the room. We're talking about an unnatural, parasitic entity, a GMO, genetically modified. This is not what Diva said. Go and look it up. A Y chromosome, by all of science, is considered an unnatural, parasitic, GMO, genetically modified entity. This is going to be important as we go into this and go through this so that you can understand who the being is that you're dealing with. He is a female with a genetically modified gene in him, or chromosome in him rather, that Diva Lyri didn't say it. Science told you that. Now, the reason why this is an issue is because, again, when we're talking about nature and getting back to nature, well, who is nature? Her, she. Every time you hear something, Mother Nature and Mother Earth and everything, the mothership, and what? Well, then why would somebody be talking about, well, she's supposed to follow him? She's supposed to follow him. Hold on. Let me get back to this. Let's get back to this. My bottom line in this whole topic here is self-love, discovery, and balance. She is trying to follow something or lean on something or depend on something. She cannot gain balance. Hold on. She got 2 chromosomes here. She never taps into the other chromosome because she's too busy trying to lean on him. Hold on. Here's the bottom line. Boom. When she taps in to source, Christ within her, when she taps into source, then she has balance. She is the yin and the yang, the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the ending, when she has balance, when she knows who she is. But she can't have balance when she doesn't know who she is. Somebody told her, you're not worth anything. You are weak. You can't do nothing unless you have a man. Has made her feel like she is nothing unless she has a man. And this is not to say don't have a relationship. The bottom line is, tap into source before you allow anyone to tap into you. If you don't know who you are, then you will be devoured. Because the people who are tapping into you, the Y chromosome, you go ask science, is it natural? People, women in particular, have no clue about who they are, what the history of the woman is, what it is when you have sex, what it is when you bring another being into this dimension on a spiritual level. You don't know who he is. But from a young age, you know about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Cinderella and all these other women who are supposedly saved by, the Prince Charming. Meanwhile, you women getting into relationships, well, why do you need a man? Well, because, I want support. And this is unfair to him. Let me be clear on that, because it's not just about him being whatever this Y chromosome is. This is saying she's being unfair to him. When you just getting with him because, I need some money and I need somebody to pay the bills. Here we go. Here's the next one. Here's the next one right here. he talks about the gender war. This is, why is my, hold on. This is the one I want to go to next. Man, woman, child. This is what he said, man, woman, child. But anybody who studied anything knows that originally it was Christ, woman, child. Christ, woman, child, or spirit, or God, woman, child. What has happened? Oh, well, he came in and he put himself in the place of Christ. And you wonder why this society is backwards. How can something, and again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to my brother, but science has told you what a Y chromosome is. Science told you it's unnatural. So how can something unnatural guide you back to nature? How can that happen? It doesn't. And I need women to understand that a man is never, ever, ever, ever going to tell you who you are. You've got to be willing to study that. You've got to be willing to go and look it up. Okay, hold on, because somebody like, but though, well, you know, it's some good men. They would tell. Okay, hold on. The same way that so-called government has hidden from the people that the people are the ones with the true power. The people. Y'all know that we the people, okay. We the people are the ones with the true power, but government tries to hide that. So-called government tries to hide that. Do you think they're going to tell you how to regain knowledge of your power? Why do we go through all this with the trust package and all? Why do we go through this? You think they're going to tell you this? Even lawyers won't tell you about that. Because they don't know. You know why? Because they weren't told. If you really want to free yourself from the society and the governmental clause, you better know law. You better understand who you are. Okay? Here's another one. Melanated people. Melanated people, most of us who've done our research, we know that the albion comes from the melanated people. We know what light skin is. Light skin is considered recessive. What does recessive mean? What? It's unnatural. That at some point is going to become extinct. That's what recessive means. They're not telling, well, what they were recessive. Yeah, that's what it means. But the albion comes from melanated people. And a lot of people don't want to, science is already, again, I'm not making this up. I'm not telling you my opinion. I'm just giving you what the facts are. Go look it up. So we're understanding that the albion comes from the melanated people. But right now, it looks like albions are running everything. Okay? So, but what has happened? See, those of us who study, they told us, oh, well, y'all came over here on some slave ships and y'all were slaves and y'all were the white people enslaved you. When the truth is that when even we talking about the United States of America, that was started by Moors, melanated folks. We got proof of this. They're not telling you, why didn't they tell you the fact that the original people, because they want to say the Europeans came over here, but the original Europeans were melanated. Why they didn't tell you that? They can't tell you that because if you knew the original Europeans were melanated, well, then you're going to put two and two together and recognize that the original melanated people were rich. They had money. They was lawyers and judges and bankers, and they owned homes and plantations and slaves that were albion. Albions were the original slaves in the Americas. When you talk about the original people of this land called America, they were melanated. But let's be clear that it was melanated people who enslaved them first. Melanated people from another land, so-called Moors, came into this land and enslaved and started warring with the melanated people who were already here. But then what happened? Then some albions came in and enslaved them. Because when you put out dirt, it must come back. Y'all not seeing the pattern? Well, let me give you another one. When you're talking about the woman, she too has been conquered. And the same way the government, quote unquote government, has conquered the people and rewritten all the laws and the rules so that they don't know what's what unless they study. And the same way that the Albions, or whoever it is, I don't think the Albions did it, but whoever it is that rewrote the laws such that the Albions think that they running everything, and the melanated people think they came over as slaves. Well, yeah, that whoever is the conqueror, they're gonna rewrite the history. Okay, woman, you are conquered. This whole thing called marriage, where the father gives the daughter away, what kind of nonsense is that? That was the enslavement. That was the woman going to enslavement. Why? Well, she the one who created him. And she did dirt to him. He was the same energies that she's receiving from him. Is the same energy she put out on him. He was a sex slave first. The same way the Albion is stepping on the neck of the melanated people is the same way the melanated people did dirt to the Albion. They were the original. Look up white slaves in America. Look up white cargo. Look it up. Look up Moorish concubines. Look up the daughters of the American Revolution. Daughters of the American Revolution. Those were the concubine to the Moors. Because the Moors, they didn't want money. They was like, no, we want some white women as slaves. That's what we want, some booty. That's the term comes from. We want some booty. White women slaves. That's what they wanted. And so now you need to understand, whoever conquers a people, they rewrite the history of that people. So you guys are saying to me, well, you know, in the Bible, people, in the Bible, it say man, woman, child. Okay. Where does that come from? The Bible. Are y'all understanding, women, who wrote those scriptures? Why do you not know of who sibyls and oracles are? Why they don't speak about sibyls and oracles? And the fact that the scriptures are so old, they predate anything. They can't even date them. The Bible comes around in 325 AD. Those scriptures were written so far in the BC, once again, they can't be dated. Why you don't know about that? Who wrote them? Look up sibyls and oracles. Look it up. And why have they written her out of her scriptures? Go find Ruth and go find Solomon's story and watch him tell you who led the Israelites out of Egypt. It wasn't no Moses. Why are you not reading the left out books? Why is it, did Jesus Christ and this and that? Okay. I'm not even going into that today. What I am saying to you is, we already talked about it. The Bible is very powerful. The Bible is very powerful. But you need to read what came before it. If you're not studying the ancient civilizations and understanding what happened in those times, if you don't know the treaties and the trust, then you really don't know anything and you're going to stay asleep, because the woman was conquered. When you're talking about religions, all religions are patriarchal. All religions are patriarchal. What does that mean, Diva? The original order on this planet was matriarchy. The woman ruled. Matriarchy. Ma, for mother. Matriarchy. And then he took her over. When did this start? According to my research, we're looking at 1000 BC all the way up to, and again, you see in 325 AD. Okay. Things change. Energies return. And there is a spiritual shift at this time. There have been many spiritual shifts in between those times, but this one right here, when you're seeing women grow in popularity, and you might just think, oh, that's just, it's a spiritual thing. Everything is spiritual, everything. But when you see women's sports on the rise, and you see women in power on the rise, and that's a spiritual thing. Let's be clear about this. And I'm telling my brother this so that he's clear. Don't be trying to dominate her, because you get a lot of brothers out here be trying to tell her how to lead. Girl, you got to get on that, because they want to act like, oh yeah, you in the lead. The women are the great. And I love my brother, but I know how you do. I know your nature. I respect your nature. But brothers be trying to lead from the back. Yeah, go on up there, girl. Go and do that thing. Step back. She's got to do what she's got to do. She needs to come into knowledge of self. But he says it was man, woman, child, when the original order was Christ, woman, child. And once again, I say to you, woman, you tap into source before you allow anyone to tap into you. If you don't know who you are, then you're going to be susceptible to allow somebody to beat on you and abuse you and talk bad to you, because it starts with the negative talk, where they tell, girl, you fine, but you would be a little bit finer if you do a little, got a little work done on you. I pay for it. I pay for it. Girl, you fine, but you would be a little bit pretty if you got some work done on you. I pay for it. Starts with that kind of stuff. Degrading you. But if you tapped in the source, you don't ever allow that kind of energy around you. Ever. She can't be tapped in the source when she thinks she's less than and that she's not worthy of anything unless she's with a man. And this is not me saying, well, I don't need no man. This is beyond that. This is talking about tapping in the source. And once you tapped in the source, if you feel like you want to have somebody in your space, then it's going to be a healthy relationship. You cannot be healthy when you don't even know who you are. You don't even know who he is. You worry about, he going to go out and cheat on me. And that's not even healthy. Let me go on to the next subject, because he talks about a gender war, and in here he says, and I want to make sure my this is not running my things in the wrong order. All right, this is what I want to get on next. All right, he says we need each other. Okay. If we didn't need each other, we wouldn't be physically manifested in the now from a male-female procreation. So he's saying you need a man and a woman to procreate, is what he's saying. And we wouldn't have manifested here if we didn't need each other. Pay attention, people in the back of the room, so that I can make this clear. I just made it clear to you that we're talking about so-called government. They conquered the people, rewrote laws. People are ignorant, clueless about who they are. Melanated people are clueless about the fact that they were in this land, the fact that the original Europeans were melanated and came over here and enslaved. They're ignorant about the fact that there are treaties that if they knew about them, they could reclaim the land for themselves. All right, because melanated people were conquered. And I'm making it clear to you that women, you were conquered. And there are things that you don't know about yourself that if you did know, then yes, you would be ruling in such a way that it will make them uncomfortable because you could conquer them. So let's understand what's going on. All right. And I'm going to tell you what's up, you go look this up for yourself. Is there anybody in this room, and please speak up, is there anybody in this room who thinks that so-called man can't cure cancer and doesn't know what the cure of cancer is? Anybody? Who thinks that man doesn't know the cure for cancer? Anybody? And Melissa says, which is false? What is false? Tell me. And I want to thank all my people in TikTok. Shay, thank you for the love. D, thank you for the love. NBC, thank you for the love. The Real Jamaican, welcome and thank you for the love. All right, Shay. And Big Mo, hello, Big Mo. So does anybody think that man can't cure cancer? Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Is anybody in the house? Am I talking to myself? Anybody in the back of the room? Go Diego says, spitting facts, Diva. Thank you, Go Diego. I love you, brother. We have the cure for all diseases. Thank you, Sanguine. Okay. But why wouldn't they tell you how to cure it? Why wouldn't the government and everybody else who hiding, why wouldn't they just say, here's the cure, this is how you cure cancer? Why wouldn't they tell you? Because they would become obsolete. You wouldn't need them. You wouldn't give them money and pay them money for all of these cancer treatments and leukemia and this coming back every week and blood transfusion and all. You wouldn't pay them. They couldn't get your energies or your currencies or your monies. They can't get it because you wouldn't need them, because you go to Christ. You go to the Mother Nature. You'd get it for free. You wouldn't need them to do that. They would become obsolete. Without your money and your currency, they can't live. They can't exist. But they tell you, oh, you got cancer, and then you coming back and you paying them tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of dollars to cure something that had you gone to Christ, had you gone to the Mother, had you tapped into source, you would have cured that. But see, you got to understand that, remember, a genetically modified entity is what the government is. It's not natural. And it's going to do whatever it needs to do to remain relevant. The moment you don't need it anymore, it has to go away. This is why it's important to know how to be sovereign. When you're sovereign, you don't depend on government. And then the government has to disappear. But in order to be sovereign, you have to have knowledge of self. That means you have to study and be willing to hear and go beyond the lies that we have been taught. Okay, what does this have to do, Diva, with the man and the woman? Pay attention. I have said this many, many times, that I've said it many times, and I'm going to find my little, okay. I've said it many times, and let's put this up on the screen, that a man doesn't have anything that a woman doesn't have, because he gets everything he got from her. Well, Diva, he got a penis. You mean that uterus that's outside of his vessel? That's the uterus. But Diva, he got scrotum. You mean the ovaries that are outside his vessel? They're simply ovaries. that are sitting outside of his vessel. That prostate is a dysfunctional womb. And again, because a lot of his genes inside of his chromosome has been removed, his breasts are dysfunctional. He can't give milk. But he got sperm, Diva. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look at this, what we call meiosis. And once again, don't believe what I say. Go and look this up, because science tells you and shows you what happens during the meiosis phase. In male, it's called the spermatogenesis. In females, it's called oogenesis. And what are we talking about here? All right, you got two parent cells. And let's understand what these are, also termed the mother cell. It doesn't matter if it's in a male or a female, it's the mother cell. Now, they want to call it a parent cell because they don't want to let on to the fact that both of these cells right here, they got all X's in them. All X's, and not just X's. These are giants. These are what they call stem cells. Stem cells. This is what they were fighting over when they was like, well, you know, if the woman abort the fetus, where do stem cells go? We want to be able to keep the stem cells. Why? Because they giants. They got a lot of power, but we ain't getting into that tonight. But those are mother cells, all females. And then they break down into two sister cells, and him and her, sister cells. And then they break down into four daughter cells. Now, this process is unnatural, this meiosis phase. Why is it unnatural? Because in this phase, the mitochondria is asleep. She's asleep. And this ain't natural for her to be asleep. The same way it's not natural for you, woman, to be asleep. But she's asleep. Somebody found a way to put her in a coma. And I'm trying to wake you up and her up too. These are daughter cells. Now, notice they don't say son cells, nephew cells, uncle cells, brother cells. No, they daughters, they female, they all X's. Everything is X in him. He is an X. And one of his Y chromosomes, or one of his X chromosomes, has been degraded to a Y, but everything else is an X. He better be X, otherwise he's going to be infertile. So now let's take a look at this with her. Because these are polar bodies. Go look it up, women. Go and look it up. They want to tell you this is junk DNA. But pay attention, because these three polar bodies, because what happens is when these break down to the daughter cells, one of them is a larger ovum, the other one are polar bodies. They have the same number of genes and chromosomes in it as a sperm does. And you got to understand what a sperm is. All the sperm is, these are germs right here. Let's be clear on these. These are bacteria, germs that have eaten away at the polar bodies. They are bacteria that have eaten away at the polar bodies within him. And then they take on the DNA, so that now these sperm, these germs, these bacteria, they go search out the ovum. Now I need you to understand, women, why you get yeast infections when you have sperm up in you. Because your body is fighting. It's like, oh, these not natural. What? Kill them. Space invaders. Semen's coming. Oh, what are they doing? They're fighting. And let's be clear on this. The body does not fight anything that is natural to it. They told you sex was natural. They told you need a man because you ain't going to be able to give birth. Meanwhile, you sitting here with everything he got. Pay attention to this now, because I'm not saying don't have relations or don't. I'm not telling you none of that. I'm just giving you the facts. You take the facts and you do what you need to do, but tap in the source first. Tap in the source first before you let anything else tap into you, because you are the one holding the stargate. Pay attention. So now you got this situation here where you've got all of these polar bodies over here. And it could be said, because I asked you a question, why wouldn't they tell you about who you are as a woman and what your true abilities are? Because why you never heard about a polar body? Go and look it up. Why have you never heard about a polar body? They want to tell you it's junk DNA. When it's bigger than the sperm itself, and it's holding everything that the sperm could possibly hold. So let's understand this. Let's just say, they say, well, yeah, you can, as a woman, have a child without a man, but you need to go to a sperm bank. And you go to the sperm bank to get this DNA so that you can procreate. Meanwhile, why wouldn't they tell you that you had everything within you to procreate on your own? Why would they not tell you that? Somebody answer me that. Why? When I'm sitting here with everything I need to procreate on my own. If you love me as a woman, why wouldn't you tell me that? Why wouldn't you tell me about the polar body? Why I didn't learn about this in biology class when I was in first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10, 11, 12. College, y'all never told me about a polar body. You don't need a sperm from him, because when you get that polar body, then you have everything you need to create another being. And here's the big kicker. When you know these things, then certain beings become obsolete. It's a threat, because then you no longer need them. And I'm not dissing the men. I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm telling you what the facts are. Women, you was conquered. You can take that how you want to. And just like with the Albion, I love my Albion friends, love them. But melanated people was conquered by them. Just make it clear. Melanated people was conquered by other melanated people. Let's make that clear. Because they started it. These so-called Europeans who were originally melanated, they started it. What's my point of telling you this? When a people are conquered, then their history is rewritten, and they are purposely made to be ignorant of who they are. Why? So that they can stay subjugated. And if you're not willing to study who you are, ma'am, melanated people, then you will stay subjugated. And if that's what you want, then that's okay. But for the rest of the women who really are talking about cleaning up this mess, then you got to know who you are. You got to know what really happened. And you got to understand that somebody is hiding from you what your true powers are. I just told you. Don't believe me? Go and look it up for yourself. All right, moving on to the next line here. All right. He says, why, well, my question in his statement is, why do males manifest? Okay, I just showed you how, what's going on in this whole process as far as meiosis, and how the woman has the ability to procreate on her own. Also, what you need to understand is who is controlling the sex of the beings in this dimension. Who is controlling the sex? They want to tell you, oh, it's the man, and then the Y sperm is real fast, and it be going through there, and then the Y sperm get up in there real fast, and then it be a boy. No. Why didn't they tell you? Why didn't they tell you that there's no such thing as a Y sperm? Why didn't they tell you that? They all sisters. They all feminine. And once again, if they're not females, then he's going to be infertile, because the mitochondria is going to stop anything that doesn't look like an X. Let me put this back on the screen so you can see. All right. So anything that doesn't look like an X, because what she's going to do, the mitochondria is going to pair the X coming from the sperm with the X that's in the female. And if those two X's are not compatible, then she's going to terminate this. And if it was a Y coming in here, if that sperm was a Y, which a Y sperm or a male sperm doesn't exist, but if it was, this is what it looks like. The mitochondria is going to terminate that so fast, it's not even going to have a chance to beat. She's going to terminate that because it's not a match. So what's the big deal about that? What is the big deal about who's controlling the sex of the beings in this dimension? One of the things that women don't understand, and we haven't been told, and when you do research, then you're going to understand. Melissa asked, can I share more about the alien that did this? The Anunnaki, according to my research, Thoth, when in the Garden of Eden, remember that whole rib story, which is in the Bible, just garbage, the way that they garbled it. But when you go back and read the ancient scriptures, study the Sumerian civilization, then you'll understand that what happened truly happened with the rib story. They kept putting more and more DNA into the humans, and one of the Anunnaki, according to the ancient scriptures, didn't want the humans to have all of this DNA. They didn't want them to be equal. The other one had a job to do, and that was to create these humans. I didn't even mean to go into this, Melissa, but Melissa asked, y'all blame it on Melissa. So the other one, who had a job to create these humans, he had to keep putting more DNA into the vessel. Well, after Adam and Eve had been created, they saw them in the garden, but they were not procreating. They were having sex, but they weren't procreating, because the human vessel is a hybrid vessel in itself. And hybrid vessels are not supposed to procreate. But when you tamper with Mother Nature, then you can find a way, which is this thing they call sex. Then you can find a way to cause them to procreate. So what ended up happening is, when they were having sex, you got to understand, if it's all Y's inside of Adam, he got all Y genes and Y chromosomes, then when he tries to have sex and he tries to, the sperm tries to penetrate and it's a Y, well, that the mitochondria is going to terminate that. So when they were having sex, it was the mitochondria that was regulating. She's like, no, this not coming up in here. So then Thoth had to go in and put Adam and Eve to sleep, and Ninmah and Enki. Ninmah is the sister of Enki, and these two were charged with creating the human vessel. He put all four of them to sleep, and he took DNA from Adam and he put it into Enki. He took DNA from Adam. Let me make this right. He took DNA from Enki and put it into Adam, DNA from Ninmah and put it into Eve. This is where the rib starts. So around in the ribs, this is where all of this bone marrow, inside of the bone marrow is where stem cells. It's also inside of your ovaries as well. But when that yolk sac empties back, it empties a lot of stem cells into the bone marrow. So they had to go into the bone marrow of the Anunnaki and put it into the human vessels so that they could procreate. That's where the rib story comes from. And once they did that, they became more aware of self, more tapped in to source. They knew who they were. And I was like, wait a minute, we naked. That's where all that naked came from. So you go back and read the ancient scriptures and you'll understand where it came from. Thank you for that question. So getting back to this, why does a male manifest? The issue is that women are not recognizing where a male come from. None of us are told this. But when you do research, you'll understand. So pay attention. And again, this is not a diss or a hate on my brother. This might upset some people. It is not my desire to upset you. Once again, I told you, you have to be mature and willing to go and do your own research on this information that I'm giving. But when you're talking about a child being born, it's determined by the mother and her state of mind. So when you're looking at a male, you're looking at a mother or the fruit of a mother who was under duress. When you're looking at a male, you're looking at the fruit of a mother who was under duress at the time of the pregnancy. These are the facts that you haven't been told. So what's happening is, if you've got a woman who's getting beat up in her relationship, she doesn't like her job, she doesn't like her marriage, she's just unhappy all around, she's unbalanced mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, she's unbalanced, then she's going to be likely to degrade that being to a boy. It has to do with her state of mind. That's where he's coming from. A woman who's under duress. This is what you should have been told. Has balance, is balanced, and knows who she is, and has self-love, respect, honor, and things are going well in her life. The only thing she's giving birth to is a female. Love. A woman who has love, the only thing she's giving birth to is a female. Period. This is not to say that a woman who's having issues won't give birth to a girl. But if she gives birth to a male, we know he was under duress. And you can tell me all you want to, well, no, me and my husband, we are happy. You could tell that to somebody who doesn't know, because I know. And so the issue is that the woman is the holder of the Stargate. She's not understanding her powers on so many different levels. She's thinking that, oh, I need somebody to protect me, when she the one bringing the danger. When she gets her mind in order, there won't be any danger. There won't be any need to be protected, because you're the one bringing it. But she doesn't know that, because we don't understand the spiritual nature of this whole dimension. You got to know self. Let me go on. And if I have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section. I want to hear them. Even if you disagree, I want to hear it. Let me hear you. Say something. Say it out loud. Say it with your chest. All right. So he goes on to say, any other mindset, he says, leading towards one or the other, which I think he meant to say leaning towards one or the other, is imbalanced, unhealed trauma. All right. So let's go into some trauma and some statistics about trauma and who causes it. Where is it coming from? So I got to get on these statistics about children who are molested. Ooh, can I say that? Molested. Got to bleep that out, because I forget how they try to tag things. All right. When you're looking at the statistics on this, they say that 1 out of every 3 women have had some kind of inappropriate actual relationship with someone before the age of 18. And then when you're looking at males, it's 1 out of every 4 males has had some kind of inappropriate actual relationship with someone before the age of 18, or an adult before the age of 18. And then they go on to talk about how 75% of the people who have been molested, it was by somebody who they knew. A living boyfriend, a daddy, a brother, a stepdad, a cousin, an uncle, somebody's friend of the family, somebody who they knew, 75%. And then when you look at the other statistic that talks about who these perpetrators were, more than 85% were male. More than 85% of the perpetrators of these crimes against children were males. So let's go on into the stats about violence against women and children. More than 75% of the perpetrators of violence against women and children are male. This doesn't matter what your skin color is, what landmass you live on, what your race is, what you identify as, or nothing else. How much money you have. More than 85% of the perpetrators of violence against women and children are males. When we're talking about violent crimes, more than 85% of the perpetrators are males. When we're talking about robberies, more than 85% of the perpetrators are males. When we're talking about rape, more than 85% of the perpetrators are male. When we're talking about murders, you know what I'm talking about, more than 85% of the perpetrators are males. I don't know if y'all seeing a pattern. I don't know if you're seeing a pattern. Okay. But let me say this, because while we would be saying, oh, you know what? The man is the problem. The man is the problem. Let's think about this, because 100% of them come from women. And I'm ready to upset the women now. Well, Diva, you had me until you said what? But see, he got to be responsible for it. Listen, here's the deal, and let's understand this, that everything comes with knowledge of self and your standing, how you stand. Just like when we're talking about law, like you can have these documents, like, you know what, government, I got these papers. But then if you don't know how to stand with your papers, if you don't have the knowledge, which is why we give you an education with this, then you can't stand in your rightful place. So they're going to step on you because you're really not standing, you're just giving lip service. So when we're talking about how more than 85% of the perpetrators of all of these negative things are male, I got to go back and say, well, wait a minute, because 100% of them came from a woman. And then my question has become, what was going on with her to where she created this being that would do these things? And let me make this clear. Not all males, I'm not saying all males would commit crimes. I did not say that. What I am saying to you is that the ones who are more prone to commit these things are males, according to the statistics. Now, I didn't create the statistics. Once again, I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm telling you the facts. Go look them up. So when we're understanding that all these males, they come from a woman. So the thing is, and I've been saying this from the beginning, It starts with the woman because he came from her. He came from her. He is her fruit. And when she is in order, he doesn't have a choice but to be in order. All of this stuff about, well, he would beating on her and she was a victim. Ain't no victims. Y'all know the case going on, and I don't, I rarely want to speak on secular stuff because I'm not here for no clickbait. I'm not here for that. And if I wanted to make that one of my topics and get a lot of views or whatever, I could do that. But I'm here to give you what the facts are. But there's a case going on right now where a woman was in a situation with this guy because, oh, well, he's going to help my music career. And he's going to do these things for me. And we're going to be rich. And he turned her into an prostitute. An prostitute. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to not to get flagged over here. He was her pimp and she was his prostitute. And y'all, oh, she was a victim in it. If she had self-love, and I want you to ask yourself this, and I get it. There's this whole thing about, well, sometimes it's hard to leave. Ask yourself this. If she had self-love, would he have been able to keep saying these things to her and get her to do things? All of these things they're talking about that she went through and people urinating on her and all this. If you have self-love, if you know who you are, if you are tapped into source, if you are really dependent on God, at what point do you allow somebody to piss in your face? But he threatened my mama, and he said he was gonna. Remember when I talked about this? If you're operating down here and you're not even operating in your right mind, you can't see it. Here you go. If you're operating in these lower vibratory frequencies, okay, I'll read them all. Pride, anger, despair, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame. She was all down here. I feel shame. I feel nasty. I feel dirty. I feel guilty, and I feel fear. She had her operating all down here. You can't manifest nothing down here. So once somebody gets you in a state where you're not in your right mind, you're not operating in your right mind, you're going to allow them to do things to you that they shouldn't be doing. You're going to allow them to tap into you when you shouldn't be allowing them to tap into you. I know somebody going to get upset. I'm listening. Put it in the comments section. So he's talking about this unhealed trauma. There's a lot of people in relationships right now that should not be in a relationship because they are not tapped into source. I'm talking about tapping into self. I ain't telling you what religion to believe in because it's about spirit. It's about whatever you Christ, God, and you tapped in. Do you really believe in this being that you say is all great and all omnipotent? Do you really? Because then if you did, you wouldn't allow people to do these things to you. But there are a lot of people who are unhealed. They have unhealed trauma. And they are imbalanced because they think they have to lean on another being. And again, I'm telling you what the Y chromosome is. So if I'm talking about let me rephrase that. When you read for yourself what science says a Y chromosome is, an unnatural, parasitic, recessive, genetically modified being, then you understand that the beings of that type have a characteristic trait. Let's talk about some of them. Corn, GMO corn. I don't know if y'all know, but y'all know those African killer bees that are finding the honeybees and killing them up. GMO, those are GMO bees. light skin. All those beings have a characteristic trait. And what they do is take over that which created them. Again, light skin come from melanated people. And what have they tried to do? What have the killer bees done? What does corn do? GMO corn, what does it do to the natural corn? Okay, what is a male? Y'all ain't getting this? Again, it's not a diss. I'm just telling you what it is. Respect the nature of the being that you're trying to conduct business with. And when you're having sex, you are conducting business. And if you don't know the nature of the being that is tapping into you, you shouldn't be allowing it to tap. No pause on that. Tap into source before you allow anything to tap into you. Once you tapped into source, then you know whatever business you do with whatever being you do it with, you know it's going to be a healthy relationship. Moving on to the next statement, he says, again, we dealt with the trauma. He says, don't project gender separation wars. Then he goes on to say, individually, we have to heal for us to collectively unify. Say it again, sir. What did you say? Wait a minute. What did you? He said, individually, we have to heal for us to collectively unify. I 100% agree. 100% agree. And so individually, ma'am, you need to close your legs and tap into source before you allow somebody to tap into you. Because if you don't know who you are, if you don't know source, and you don't have any love for yourself, then the person who you allow to tap into you will end up helping you to bring another demon in this dimension. I'm going to just say it like that. I'm going to just be real. Let me keep it 100. Some of y'all are sleeping with straight up demons and giving birth to their seed, not understanding that you had the full power and ability to do it yourself. So yeah, this is not about a gender war or trying to hate the man. First of all, let me see if I got into it. Okay, I need to make this clear. This is not about hating him or hating the brother, because we love our brother. As a matter of fact, you better love him, but love has nothing to do with sex. That is what the misconcept here is. That it's about, oh, you know, I love you, or I'm going to let you do whatever you want. That's not love. Love is not all this stuff they talking about. Love is suffering, and love is giving up some of yourself. And love. No, the heck, what kind of what God are y'all talking about? That is not love. You have been lied to, woman. That is not. You know who does it. I'm gonna tell you who I think. Now, this is my opinion. I normally don't give my opinions, but since we're talking about relationships and sex and all that, you know who I think does it the best? I'm not saying I'm down with it. This is not what I do at all, because you know I don't deal with any of that. But I think when I watch how the so-called cougar does it, you know how those older women who like the younger men, and the way she does it, she's the only one who's doing it right. In my opinion, if you're gonna have a relationship, she's the only one who's doing it right. Everybody else, you try, oh, I gotta have him in a relationship, and I need the papers, and I need I want the ring. You like it when you put the ring on it. Okay, look, let me tell you something. The cougar is the only one doing it right because she has a respect for who he is. and she knows who she is. So the cougar got her own house, she got her own car, look, baby, tonight I'm gonna cook dinner and I want you to come over around 8 o'clock. I need you to cut the grass, and then, I'm, have dinner ready for you, and, we have a great time, have some wine, and then we're gonna have a great time. And then in the morning, you gotta go. And she might give him a little, yeah, I'm gonna pay you for because that's why I need you to cut the grass. Cut the grass so I can give you some money. I'm gonna give you $200-300. Yeah, I could call somebody else over here to cut the grass for $25-30, but I'm gonna pay you because I need you to do some other stuff. So she might not want to feel a certain way, but then he goes on his way. And there's not all this drama about where you been, who you been with, why you didn't call me, none of that. I respect your nature and you respect mine. This is what I want. I need this. And then we get that done. And then I take care of you. You've taken care of me. And it's a done deal. I'm not saying that's what you should do. I'm saying those people are the ones who I think did it right. Because I get women talking about, I need to be with, it's just one of us. We monogamous. When, by the way, monogamy is not even natural. It's not. It's not a natural thing. I can't find no beings, except for the ones that die after 2 weeks, that mate with only one being for the rest of their life. You got birds who will mate with the same mate for their whole life, but that doesn't mean they don't sleep with other female birds or male birds. A male bird can sleep with Sandra on this continent and go to another continent and be with Mary, and then when he leave that continent, he come back to Sandra over here, and then he go back to be. He's not monogamous. He might mate with her for his whole life, but he's not monogamous. Monogamy is not even natural, not even for women. This is why you hear men talking about, well, women cheat too. Okay. I don't hear them talking a lot about it because women die with secrets, okay? Women die with their secrets. Well, men, they tell you. Then they get caught because they don't know how to keep the secret. But it's not, monogamy is just not natural. And so when I hear a woman say, well, you know what? I don't want to have no disease, and I don't want to have no, what? I can't tell you how many women I know who are married and tell me how they've contracted something from their husband. A piece of paper is not going to stop that. It's your responsibility to protect the Stargate. Yours, not his. So this is the problem. This is why I think women don't have a respect for men, and this is the biggest deal. A man has a purpose here. We want to act like, oh, well, we humans and we got a much more natural, and we are spiritual. And he's got a vessel, and it has Y chromosomes in it. And those Y chromosomes have a nature. And they speak to him louder than, male is less likely, okay, hold on, go back. I need to go back because this guy even says it. A male is not going to be as intact spiritually as a woman is. He says, let me see if I can find it. He says, it's a balance. A man's physical projection is more physical and logical, and a female is more spiritual and emotional. I agree. But one of the things with him is he's not as tapped in spiritually as she is. He's more about the flesh. And his flesh is going to talk to him and speak to him even when he ain't trying to hear it. How many men have said, I was just sitting down, and next thing you know, my soldiers start saluting. I didn't even know why I was doing that. I didn't even say that. It just starts saluting. He just told you he don't even have full control over his own vessel. You got to respect that. He's already told told you, don't try to defeat that and make him feel some kind of way because, man, you stupid, you can't, you weak, you. No, he told you who he is. Respect his nature. Respect it. So when you have these situations where women are trying to tie him into a contract, which y'all is marriage, which originally women are glorifying this thing that was their enslavement. Now it's glorified. Oh, it's the marriage. And like, that's supposed to stop him from being who he is. He told you who he is. Men have been saying who they are since the beginning. Women have been ignoring it. And the minute you start respecting his nature and start tapping into source before you allow him to tap into you, then this mess will get cleaned up. I can go to the next one. And I'm going to get up out of here. Leave your comments and questions in the comments section. I want to hear them. All right. He goes on to say, the old separation construct is over. The new wave is here, is what he says. And let's be clear on this. The new wave is here. We are now walking in the fifth dimension. Women, melanated folks, Albions, Jews. We in a new dimension. We in the fifth dimension. And some of us are walking in the sixth and seventh dimension and above. Those of us who know, we know. But he goes on to say that the new wave is here, and that if you are not in the new wave, you're going to get left behind. Let's be clear on this, okay? We are coming out of a wave and an era of enslavement. Women, melanated people, the people. You're coming out of enslavement, and the way that happens is with knowledge of self. And it also happens on the spiritual side with tapping into source. So as a woman, you have to be willing to go to the spiritual side and tap into source, because that's not what he's going to do. You're very unlikely to find a man that is going to be okay with you tapping into self. Why? Because tapping into self means that he can't tap into you. So that means no sex. And he ain't going to be cool with that. Hell, some of y'all are not going to be cool with that. When you should be. You should close your legs and learn who you are. And that's the problem. He's not going to be okay with you learning who you are and tapping in the source, because he has a purpose. That Y chromosome has a purpose. It has a contract in it. And that contract is to plant the seed. Regardless of what I got to say. So all your women who be acting like, well, he's a good man and I think he liked me. Yeah, he wants to plant seed. He likes you enough to plant seed. That doesn't mean much. All this stuff about, well, you know, because you got to understand, a man can't just come up to you and tell you what his purpose is. In his mind, what he's thinking. This is what kills me about women. Let me rephrase that. This is what I'm going to see women overcome. All right. This whole thought about, you know, thinking he's coming across the street. If a man see you across the street and he runs across the street and shakes your hand, because how you doing? My name is John Jensen. I just wanted to tell you, you look really nice. And okay, I need you to understand, he sexed you 3 times before he got across the street and shook your hand. He already sexed you in his mind 3 times. Let's be clear about that. He ain't coming over there because, oh, you know, I think she would be a great mother for my children. No! His Y chromosome said, this might be an opportunity to plant some seeds. Let's be clear about this now. See, look. I know some people are going to be upset with me. Like some good men out there who are spiritual. And you better believe that Y chromosome is going to speak louder to him than his spirit. And if you think anything different, then the problem is you, because you're not respecting his nature. All right? lastly, as I get ready to close out, in the comments, leave them in the comments section because I want to hear them. He talks about, put this on the screen. He talks about the mothership. He says, get aboard the mothership because she won't hold old paradigms, whether male or female. Now, I'm happy that he recognizes it's a mothership, that everything comes from the feminine and it is a she. Y'all remember 607 and he talked about Abraxas, but then it tells you where his god Abraxas comes from. Sophia, the mother. Everything comes from the feminine. And those of us who study, we know this. So she won't hold old paradigms, whether male or female. So an old paradigm would be man, woman, child. That's an old paradigm. It's a false paradigm. It's an unnatural paradigm. Some of y'all keep talking about you want to get to nature and you want to correct this whole thing, but you still holding on to old paradigms that are unnatural. You don't see nowhere in nature they're doing that. They're not doing that. See, they come and they tell you, well, mama bear, papa bear, baby bear, ain't even no such thing as that in nature. It doesn't happen. You got a mama bear and she'll sex him, but he got to get the heck on. There's not going to be no shacking up in the cave together. She knows better. She knows his nature. So she would never shack up with him in no cave with mama bear, papa bear. But no, it's going to be her and the baby. Woman, child, Christ. Christ is first. And once again, man has put himself in the place of Christ. Woman, I'm telling you, you were conquered. It's time for you to wake up. Come out of the coma. You have to tap into source before you allow anybody to tap into you. I hope you heard this message loud and clear. Because if you want to come up out of enslavement and you want to correct this whole mess of a society, it starts with the woman, period. All right, I'm answering questions. Dr. Nicole, thank you for joining womb therapy. All right, that's what I'm talking about, that womb therapy. Roxy Bay says, responsible men needs to stop sleeping with loose women. I agree with that. If you want to speak about men being responsible, here's the thing. I'm putting it on women now because the woman really, she has to wake up and become knowledgeable about self. But yes, the man can help by not sleeping with loose women. All right, but let's understand that there is a nature and he's going to do what his nature tells him to do because he's more in tune with his flesh than he is with source. And women, you better tap into source. Otherwise, you're going to keep creating things that is not ordained in this dimension that you don't want to see. So it's better to sleep around with multiple partners. Joshua, I didn't say that. All right. But let's go back to the matriarchy. Thank you for that question. Originally, as I said at the beginning of this session, this planet was a matriarchal society. She was never meant to shack up with him or be with him. I need everybody in the comment section, please. And TikTok, I'm ready to get to you, to your questions. But I need everybody in the comment section to finish this statement. It takes a village to... Let me see if I can get some answers to this. It takes a village to... Well, what happened to the village? The village was originally with the matriarchy. And the village was her mother, her grandmother, her aunts, her nieces, her cousins, her girlfriends, her sisters. That's who the village was, the women. And so what I'm saying is she was never supposed to be taking him as a partner, and it's just her and him. That she had the village. It takes a village because it took a whole team to raise the child, not just him and her, because really when him and her get together, it's really just gonna be her. He might go out and bring money home or whatever, but he's not gonna change no dirty stinking diapers. He gonna be talking about, well, you want me to babysit? We're talking about babysit is your child too. Okay, understand the game. So with that, if she wanted to be with a man, there was no stipulation put on her about, oh, you can't sleep with him because you're not married, or you can't sleep with him. If in the matriarch, when a woman wanted to get with a man, she would bring him to her place. And then if she said yes, then they got together. If she said no, then he got to get on. And then it wasn't no marriage. And sometimes he might see the child, or maybe he wouldn't, but that child would never go unloved because it had a village. It had the women. It always stayed protected. It wasn't no predators. It wasn't no violence against women and children. It wasn't no actual molestation. It wasn't all that, because it was with the village. It was protected. But then when she goes off on her own with him or wherever she's going, she's lost her protection. She lost the village. So you got to get back to the village. And I'm not saying that she needs to be, she should be sleeping around, or that's okay. But what I am saying is when she taps into source, she's going to be more responsible with her Stargate. That's what I'm saying. But I don't tell grown folk, I'm telling you to close your legs, but I don't like to tell y'all, oh, don't sleep with this. No, do you? But I'm telling you, you got to tap into self, tap into source. Mahogany is natural. We can't compare ourselves. Oh, monogamy is natural. No, it's not, Joshua. Monogamy is not natural. You can't see. This is the thing. You can't find anywhere in nature. See, when I talk about nature, we got to go and look at the people who are not inhibited by the raggedy laws of this so-called society. And nowhere in nature does anybody have monogamy. It doesn't exist. Unless you're talking about, once again, a being that lived for 2 weeks. And they're like, oh, well, we together. And then they die. Other than that, Joshua says, I'm cutting that grass. I can see that you would, but here's what I'm saying, all right? Why would you want to cut the grass if you think monogamy is so natural, Joshua? That's funny. I love my brother. I really do. I thank y'all for the love and the fire. SS, Melissa, Genesis, Sanguine says, I'm a man with a Sagittarius sun and a Scorpio moon, and I can distinguish from the two. I am supposed to allow my feminine moon Scorpio rule over my masculine Sagittarius. All right, Sanguine. Good luck. I mean that though. Not let me just say this. I wish you much success, and with that kind of energy, hopefully you'll find a woman who's intelligent enough to make the right decisions. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Genesis says, right, because a man looked at me and spoke and then went on to rob the next person. He didn't rob me. You bring your own danger. All right. That's one of my students, because she gets it. If you're not supposed to have an energy, then it's not going to come upon you. This is why I say women have to know that they've been spraying energies all over this planet, and you're expecting him to save you and rescue you, when the truth is, when it comes to danger, you bringing it. You are creating your dimension. And we learn, as again, walking in the 5th, 6th, 7th dimension, you learn how to control your 3rd dimension. Okay. If I have any comments of anything, please leave it in the comment section. Let me see. Can you share more about the alien that did all this? Okay, I got that one. I want to welcome everybody too. Thank you. I got some new people. Welcome. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Melissa. Raise a child. let me get on my my TikTok. All my TikTok people, thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate you. I hope the video is coming through clearly. Once again, we are always broadcasting on X as well as YouTube and TikTok. All right. Okay. So if I don't have any more comments or questions, I want y'all to know I really do appreciate you for being here. Remember, this topic, you know, is really to get my sisters to awaken, my brothers that are awakened. Thank you so much. Really, I honor you. I appreciate you, because most men, they're so stuck in their ego, they're not willing to recognize and respect the feminine. And so for those of y'all who do, thank you. All right. And thank you for being able to hear this and go do your own research. Okay. For my women, please know, you've got to tap into source, because there's a lot that we haven't been told as women. I just gave you this information. Please go look it up, and then ask yourself why you weren't taught this. Or ask yourself why you didn't know about polar bodies. Ask yourself why you didn't know about, you know, what marriage is, because I break down marriage and how it is the woman going into enslavement to the male. I break that down. Ask why you don't know about all of the female rulers, why you don't know about Solomon's story. What happened with the book of Ruth? What happened with the Sibyls and the oracles, and the fact that women were written out of their own scriptures? You got to know this, because there is not the man's responsibility to tell you who you are as a woman. Again, you were taken over. You were conquered. Now, if you want to stay conquered, that's on you. But for my women who are serious about cleaning up this mess in this dimension, in this so-called society that we have, then you better know, you better be ready to gain knowledge of self, because you are the only key to cleaning this mess up. Okay? I want y'all to know I love you. I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. We're going to be back next Friday. Give me a hug. I love you. I'm out. Bye-bye.